Hey, drama lovers! Welcome to True Life Stories. Before we dive into today's jaw dropping tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our most shocking real life stories. That today's story is one of betrayal, deception, and an unimaginable twist that will leave you speechless. Imagine discovering that the person you trusted most in the world, the one who shares your face, was secretly plotting against you. This is the unbelievable story of how my twin sister stole my identity and married my fiancé. Growing up, my twin sister Emily and I were inseparable. We were identical in every way: same hair, same smile, even the same laugh. People always said it was impossible to tell us apart, but I like to think our personalities set us apart. I was the quieter one, more focused on school and my dreams of becoming a writer. Emily was the outgoing one, always stealing the spotlight with her charm and confidence. We complemented each other perfectly, or so I thought that as we got older, our paths began to diverge. I stayed in our small hometown, working hard to build a stable life for myself while pursuing my writing career on the side. Emily, on the other hand, moved to the city and embraced a fast-paced lifestyle filled with parties, expensive clothes, and a string of short-lived relationships. Despite our differences, we always stayed close, or at least I thought we did. When I met Alex, everything changed. He was kind, intelligent, and supportive, everything I had ever wanted in a partner. We met at a coffee shop where I was working part-time while finishing my first novel. He was a regular customer who always ordered the same thing: a black coffee with 2 sugars and a blueberry muffin. Over time, we started talking more and more until one day he asked me out. Our relationship blossomed quickly. Alex was my biggest cheerleader, encouraging me to chase my dreams while also being my rock during tough times. After 2 years of dating, he proposed in the most romantic way possible, on a quiet beach at sunset with just the two of us. It felt like a fairy tale come true. Naturally, I couldn't wait to share the news with Emily. She seemed genuinely happy for me when I told her about the engagement. She hugged me tightly and said all the right things. "You deserve this. Alex is such a great guy. I'm so happy for you." But looking back now, there was something in her eyes, a flicker of jealousy, that I ignored at the time that AS wedding planning began. Emily offered to help in any way she could. She even volunteered to be my maid of honor, which I happily accepted without hesitation. After all, who better to stand by my side on the most important day of my life than my own twin sister? But as the months went by, strange things started happening. Emily began inserting herself into every aspect of the wedding planning process. She insisted on coming to every dress fitting, every cake tasting, every meeting with vendors, even when she wasn't invited. At first, I thought she was just being supportive, but her behavior became increasingly odd. She started making subtle comments about Alex, how lucky I was to have him, or how perfect he seemed. She would laugh it off as a joke whenever I questioned her about it, but something about her tone made me uneasy. Then came the day that changed everything. That it was 3 months before the wedding when Alex started acting distant. He became less responsive to texts and calls and seemed distracted whenever we were together. When I confronted him about it, he brushed it off as work stress and assured me everything was fine. But everything wasn't fine. One evening while Alex was out of town for work, or so he claimed, I received an anonymous message on social media that made my blood run cold. "You should know what's really going on between Alex and Emily." At first, I thought it had to be some kind of sick joke or misunderstanding. Emily would never betray me like that, right? But as much as I wanted to believe in her innocence and Alex's, I couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut that I decided to investigate. The next time Emily came over to help with wedding planning, I casually mentioned that Alex had been acting strange lately. Her reaction was immediate, too immediate. She laughed nervously and said something about how all men get cold feet before weddings. It felt rehearsed. That night after she left, I decided to check her social media accounts for any clues, even though they were private. And that's when I discovered something shocking: a hidden folder on her shared cloud account labeled Special Memories. My heart raced as I opened it. Inside were dozens of photos of Emily and Alex together, holding hands at restaurants, laughing at what looked like private jokes, even kissing in places they clearly thought no one would see them, that I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. But it didn't stop there. The next morning, while Alex was still out of town, I received another anonymous message. Check your local courthouse records. With trembling hands, I searched online, and there was a marriage license filed under Alex's name, and Emily's that I couldn't believe what I was seeing, that my twin sister had stolen my identity, pretending to be me, and married my fiancé behind my back. After discovering the marriage license and the hidden photos, I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. The betrayal was too deep, too painful. I needed answers, and I needed them now. That evening, I invited Emily over under the pretense of needing her help with some final wedding details. She arrived, as usual, with a smug smile on her face, completely unaware that I had uncovered her lies, that I wasted no time. "Emily," I began, my voice trembling but firm, "is there something you want to tell me?" She looked at me with feigned innocence. "What do you mean? Is this about the flowers again? I told you the roses were a better choice." "No," I said sharply, cutting her off. "This isn't about flowers. This is about Alex. And you." Her face froze for a split second before she quickly recovered, plastering on her usual confident smile. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos from her hidden folder. Her eyes widened in shock before narrowing in anger. "You went through my private files?" she hissed. "Don't even try to turn this around on me," I snapped. "You've been sneaking around with Alex behind my back, and don't bother denying it. I've seen the photos, and I know about the marriage license." For a moment, Emily didn't say anything. Then she laughed, a cold, bitter laugh that sent chills down my spine. "Fine," she said, crossing her arms. "You caught me. But honestly, can you blame me? You've always had everything handed to you: mom and dad's attention, good grades, a stable life, and now Alex? He deserves someone who can actually keep up with him." Her words cut deeper than any knife ever could. "You're unbelievable," I said, my voice shaking with rage and heartbreak. "You're my sister. How could you do this to me?" Emily shrugged as if it were no big deal. "Honestly, it wasn't that hard. You're so predictable, so boring." Alex wanted excitement, and I gave it to him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The person standing in front of me wasn't the sister I thought I knew. It was someone cruel and selfish, someone who had no problem destroying my happiness for her own gain. "And Alex?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "What does he have to say about all this?" Emily smirked. "Why don't you ask him yourself?" As if on cue, Alex walked through the door. He looked startled to see me, but quickly composed himself when he saw Emily standing there beside me. "Alex," I said, turning to him with tears in my eyes, "how could you do this? How could you marry her behind my back?" He opened his mouth to speak but hesitated, glancing nervously at Emily before finally saying, "I'm sorry, but Emily and I, we're in love." The room spun around me as his words sank in. My fiancé, the man I thought I would spend the rest of my life with, had not only betrayed me, but had chosen my own twin sister over me. "You're both disgusting," I said through gritted teeth. "You deserve each other." Before either of them could respond, I grabbed my things and walked out the door, slamming it behind me. The next few days were a blur of pain and anger as I tried to process what had happened. But then something shifted inside me. I realized that staying silent would only give them more power over me. They had stolen so much already, my trust, my happiness. But they wouldn't steal my voice that I decided to expose their betrayal publicly. First, I went to social media and posted screenshots of the photos and marriage license along with a brief explanation of what had happened. Betrayed by the two people I trusted most, my twin sister and my fiancé. They thought they could get away with it, but not anymore. The post went viral almost instantly. Friends and family flooded my inbox with messages of support, while others expressed their shock and disbelief at Emily's actions. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted them to face real consequences for what they had done. That I contacted our wedding vendors and explained the situation, canceling every contract under Alex's name and ensuring he would lose all deposits paid for by his account, which were significant. Then came the most satisfying part, contacting our family lawyer to ensure that Emily's fraudulent use of my identity for the marriage license would be investigated. Cutting ties with both Emily and Alex was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also one of the most liberating. That I, in the weeks that followed, I focused on rebuilding my life piece by piece. Therapy became a lifeline as I worked through the pain of betrayal and rediscovered who I was outside of those toxic relationships. That I threw myself into my writing like never before, channeling all my emotions into a novel that would later become a bestseller, ironically titled Twisted Ties. The success of the book not only boosted my confidence, but also gave me financial independence that allowed me to move away from our small town and start fresh in a new city. It was during a book signing event for Twisted Ties that I met Ethan, a kind-hearted journalist who had come to interview me about my story. At first, I was hesitant to let anyone new into my life after everything that had happened. But Ethan's patience and understanding slowly broke down my walls. That he didn't just see me as someone who had been hurt. He saw me as someone strong enough to overcome it. Our relationship grew slowly but steadily over time until one day he surprised me by proposing during one of our favorite hikes. A simple yet perfect moment that felt worlds apart from Alex's grand but hollow gestures. This time around felt different, real, and when we married surrounded by close friends and no family drama, it truly felt like a new beginning. Looking back now years later, with Ethan by my side and two beautiful children, we sometimes laugh at how absurdly dramatic those days were with Emily and Alex, though it took years before laughter replaced bitterness. Emily eventually divorced Alex after their relationship predictably imploded under its own toxicity, while Alex faded into obscurity after losing his job due to his involvement in our public scandal. Did I ask for me? Life has never been better. And if there's one thing this journey taught me, it's that sometimes losing what you thought you wanted is exactly what leads you toward everything you truly deserve. So remember, even when life feels like it's falling apart, there's always hope waiting just around the corner. Wow, what an incredible story of betrayal turned triumph. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like it and share it with someone who needs inspiration after heartbreak. Subscribe for more jaw-dropping tales here on True Life Stories. See you next time.